Question 711. When advertising a listed property for sale, a broker is prohibited from A. Creating the false impression that the broker is the property owner, B. Providing the property's listed price in the ad, C. Not providing the exact street address, D. Not providing the amount of financing needed to acquire the property. Correct answer is A. Creating the false impression that the broker is the property owner. Creating the false impression that the broker is the property owner. This is a serious violation of advertising ethics and regulations. Brokers must clearly identify themselves as agents representing the seller. Misleading potential buyers into thinking they are dealing directly with the owner can be deceptive and unethical. Providing the listed price is common and generally encouraged as it gives potential buyers essential information. While providing the address is helpful, it's not always mandatory in initial advertising. Brokers might choose to provide a general location or neighborhood to generate inquiries before giving the specific address. However, withholding the address entirely could be seen as hindering access to information in some cases. Advertising the full financing details is not typically a requirement. Ads often focus on the property's features and price. Question 712. Paul and Arthur are joint tenants in a property. The two have an argument and Paul changes the locks on the gates to the estate, so that Arthur cannot enter. Arthur can A. Sue Paul for wrongful ejectment, B. Physically attack Paul and claim the right of self-defense because his property interest was threatened. C. Sue Paul for his fair share of the rent value for the time that Arthur was kept off the property, D. Both A and C. Correct answer is D. Both A and C. In California, as joint tenants, Paul and Arthur have an equal right to possess the entire property. By changing the locks and preventing Arthur from entering, Paul has likely committed a wrongful ejectment or ouster. Therefore, Arthur can sue Paul for wrongful ejectment to regain access to the property. Additionally, because Paul is exclusively occupying the property and denying Arthur his right to use it, Arthur can also sue Paul for his fair share of the rent value for the time that Arthur was kept off the property. This is based on the principle that a co-tenant who ousts another must account for the rental value of the ousted tenant's share. Physically attacking Paul would be illegal and would not be considered self-defense in this property dispute. Thus, the most accurate answer is D. Both A and C. Question 713. Generally, escrow companies base their prorations on a year consisting of A. 355 days, B. 360 days, C. 365 days, D. 366 days. Correct answer is B. 360 days. This is often referred to as a banker's year or a statutory year, where each month is considered to have 30 days for calculation purposes. This simplifies the daily proration calculation. While a calendar year has 365 days, or 366 in a leap year, the 360-day year is a common convention in real estate transactions and finance for these types of calculations. Question 714. A typical seller representation agreement authorizes the listing agent to do all of the following, except A. Place a for sale sign on the property, B. List the property on a multiple listing service, MLS, C. Open an escrow account in the owner's name, D. Accept on the owner's behalf a good faith deposit from a prospective buyer. Correct answer is C. Open an escrow account in the owner's name. The opening of an escrow account is generally contingent upon the existence of a fully executed purchase contract between the buyer and the seller. The listing agent's primary role under the seller representation agreement is to market the property and facilitate the negotiation of this contract. The sequence of events typically is 1. Listing agreement. Seller hires a listing agent. 2. Marketing. Agent markets the property. 3. Offer. Buyer submits an offer, often with a good faith deposit held by the agent. 4. Acceptance. Seller accepts the offer, creating a fully executed purchase contract. 5. Escrow opened. Once the executed contract and the buyer's initial deposit are received by the escrow company, the escrow process officially begins. Therefore, the listing agent, acting solely under the seller representation agreement, does not have the authority to independently open an escrow account in the owner's name before a purchase agreement is in place. Question 715. A married couple originally from the Middle East come to broker Betty's office San Diego and tell her they are interested in viewing potential homes to buy in the Rancho Gardens neighborhood. Even though the broker has several listings in that area, Betty, for no other reason than their national origin, tells the couple that nothing is available in Rancho Gardens. Betty has committed the illegal practice of A. Blockbusting, B. Antitrust, C. Steering, D. False advertising. Correct answer is C. Steering. Blockbusting involves inducing panic selling in a neighborhood by suggesting that minority individuals are moving in, leading to a decline in property values. Betty isn't trying to scare existing residents into selling. Antitrust laws relate to preventing monopolies and promoting competition in business. Betty's actions, while discriminatory, don't fall under antitrust violations. While Betty is misrepresenting the availability of homes in Rancho Gardens, the primary illegal act is the discriminatory steering based on national origin, not the false information itself. The false information is a tool used to carry out the steering. Steering is the illegal practice of guiding prospective homebuyers toward or away from certain neighborhoods based on their race, religion, national origin, family status, or disability. In this scenario, Betty is discouraging the couple from viewing homes in Rancho Gardens solely because of their Middle Eastern national origin. Question 716. The FHA requires loan applicants to make a down payment of at least of the sales price of the property. A. 1.5%, B. 0.02, C. 0.05, D. None of the above. Correct answer is D. None of the above. The FHA, Federal Housing Administration, does require a down payment, but it's significantly lower than conventional mortgages. For borrowers with a credit score of 580 or higher, the minimum down payment is 3.5% of the sales price. If your credit score is below 580, the down payment requirement increases to 10%. Question 717. Constructive notice for lien is provided when recording A. Trust deed, B. Covenant, C. Change of ownership, D. Easement in gross. Correct answer is A. Trust deed. A covenant is an agreement or promise contained in a deed or other real estate document. While covenants can affect the use and value of property, the recording of the deed containing the covenant provides constructive notice of the covenant itself, not necessarily a lien. A change of ownership is the transfer of title from one party to another. The recording of the deed that affects the change of ownership provides constructive notice of the transfer of title, not necessarily a lien, although the new deed could be subject to existing recorded liens. An easement in gross is a personal right to use another person's land. While the recording of the document creating the easement provides constructive notice of the easement itself is a right of use, not a lien, which is a financial claim against the property. Recording a document in the public records, usually the county recorder's office, provides constructive notice to the world of the existence of that document and its contents. This means that even if someone doesn't have actual knowledge of the recorded document, they are legally presumed to know about it because it's a matter of public record. A trust deed is a security instrument used to create a lien on real property to secure a loan. When a trust deed is recorded, It provides constructive notice to any subsequent purchasers or lien holders that there is a lien against the property. Question 718. According to the terms of an agreement, a broker is to receive a commission of 7% of the sales price of a particular property that eventually sells for $300,000. How much commission will the broker receive? A. $50,000, B. $21,000, C. $2,100, D. $1,000. Correct answer is B. $21,000. To calculate the broker's commission, you need to multiply the sales price of the property by the commission rate. Sales price equals $300,000. Commission rate equals 7%, which is 0.07 as a decimal. Commission equals sales price times commission rate. Commission equals $300,000 times 0.07. Commission equals $21,000. Therefore, the broker will receive a commission of $21,000. Question 719. When a mortgage lender tries to persuade a borrower to take out a more expensive loan when he could qualify for a cheaper one, it is called A. Redlining, B. Steering, C. Loan enhancing, D. Push loaning. Correct answer is D. Push loaning. Redlining is a discriminatory practice where lenders refuse to give loans in certain areas based on factors like race, ethnicity, or income. Steering is a discriminatory practice where real estate agents attempt to direct buyers or sellers away from certain neighborhoods based on factors like race, ethnicity, or religion. Loan enhancing term doesn't have a specific meaning in the context of mortgage lending. Push loaning occurs when a lender tries to persuade a borrower into a more expensive loan than they qualify for, often to increase the lender's profits. This practice is considered unethical and potentially illegal. Question 720. Buyer Barry and seller Sean agree to a contract for the sale of real property. They each deliver all items to the escrow agent required in their jointly agreed to escrow agreement. During the escrow period, Barry asks if the deposit receipt can be released so he can have it examined by his accountant, but Sean refuses to allow this. The escrow agent should A. Release the deposit receipt, since the escrow officer is the agent of the buyer, B. Not release the deposit receipt. C. Require the parties to submit the dispute to an arbitrator, D. Resign the escrow account. Correct answer is B. Not release the deposit receipt. While arbitration is a method for resolving disputes, the escrow agent's initial responsibility is to adhere to the existing instructions. They don't have the authority to force arbitration unless the escrow agreement specifies it for disputes. Resigning the escrow account is a drastic step that an escrow agent might take if there's an irreconcilable conflict between the parties that prevents them from fulfilling the escrow instructions. However, a simple disagreement about releasing a document within the escrow period doesn't typically warrant resignation at this stage. The agent should first try to facilitate communication and adherence to the original agreement. The escrow agent is a neutral third party acting as a fiduciary for both the buyer and seller. They are responsible for holding funds and documents until all the terms of the sale are met. Releasing the deposit receipt without both parties' agreement would violate the escrow agreement and could jeopardize the transaction. Resigning the escrow account would not resolve the dispute and could delay or jeopardize the transaction. The escrow agent should encourage the parties to discuss and resolve the issue amicably. If they cannot agree, the escrow agent may need to consult with legal counsel to determine the appropriate course of action.